a glimmer of hope has emerged from the shadow of conflict. India and Pakistan, after weeks of intense border skirmishes, have agreed to a ceasefire. This truce, brokered by the United States, aims to silence the guns and pave the way for dialogue. The ceasefire, announced on May 10, 2025, comes as a relief after weeks of escalating tensions and violence. Both nations have agreed to halt cross-border firing and military actions along the line of control. This fragile peace holds immense significance for the region and the world. The rivalry between these nuclear-armed neighbors has long been a source of global concern. The ceasefire, while a positive step, is just the first in what promises to be a long and arduous journey towards lasting peace. The international community has welcomed the ceasefire. World leaders and organizations have called upon both India and Pakistan to uphold their commitment to the truce. The coming days and weeks will prove crucial in determining whether this ceasefire can hold and pave the way for meaningful dialogue. The hope is that this truce will mark the beginning of a new chapter in India-Pakistan relations. However, deep-rooted mistrust and unresolved issues cast a long shadow over the prospect of lasting peace. The ceasefire agreement comes after weeks of intense fighting along the India-Pakistan border. The recent escalation witnessed a dramatic surge in cross-border firing, artillery duels and drone strikes. Both sides exchanged accusations of violating the 2003 ceasefire agreement. The situation deteriorated rapidly, resulting in civilian casualties and widespread fear along the border regions. Villages were evacuated, and schools remained shut as shells rained down on both sides. This recent escalation was one of the deadliest since the 2019 Pulwama attack and the subsequent Balakot airstrike. Each side blamed the other for initiating the violence. India accused Pakistan of harboring and supporting militant groups operating in Kashmir. Pakistan in turn accused India of human rights violations and atrocities in Indian-administered Kashmir. The escalating tensions raised fears of a larger conflict. The risk of miscalculation and the presence of nuclear weapons in both countries made the situation even more precarious. The international community watched with bated breath, urging restraint and dialogue. The ceasefire agreement has brought a sigh of relief, but the embers of tension still flicker. The path to lasting peace remains fraught with challenges. The recent escalation can be traced back to a deadly attack in Indian-administered Kashmir in April 2025. Militants targeted a military convoy, resulting in significant casualties. India blamed Pakistan-based militant groups for the attack. The attack sparked outrage and grief across India. Public anger mounted, and there were calls for retaliation against those responsible. The Indian government vowed to respond decisively to the attack. Pakistan denied any involvement in the attack. It condemned the violence and called for a thorough investigation. However, the incident significantly heightened tensions between the two countries. The attack in Kashmir served as a grim reminder of the volatile situation in the region. It underscored the deep-rooted mistrust and animosity that have long plagued India-Pakistan relations. The incident also highlighted the complex challenge of militancy in Kashmir. Both India and Pakistan accuse each other of supporting militant groups operating in the region. The issue of Kashmir remains a major stumbling block in any effort to normalize relations between the two countries. The attack pushed India and Pakistan closer to the brink of conflict. It underlined the urgent need for dialogue and de-escalation to prevent further bloodshed. The United States played a crucial role in bringing India and Pakistan to the negotiating table. Concerned by the escalating tensions and the risk of a wider conflict, the US engaged in intensive diplomacy to defuse the crisis. US diplomats held talks with high-ranking officials from both India and Pakistan. They emphasized the need for restraint, de-escalation, and a return to dialogue. The US also urged both countries to respect the 2003 ceasefire agreement. The US efforts were supported by other global powers. The international community recognized the gravity of the situation and the need for a peaceful resolution. The United Nations and other multilateral organizations also called for dialogue and restraint. The US has long been involved in trying to mediate between India and Pakistan. It recognizes the importance of stability in South Asia and the potential consequences of a conflict between two nuclear-armed states. However, the US role has not been without criticism. Some accuse the US of having a biased approach towards India and Pakistan. Others question the effectiveness of US mediation efforts given the long history of conflict between the two countries. Despite these criticisms, the US continues to play an important role in facilitating dialogue between India and Pakistan. Its recent efforts have been instrumental in securing the ceasefire agreement. The India-Pakistan divide is a complex and deeply rooted issue, stemming from historical, political and cultural differences. It all began in 1947, when British India was partitioned into two separate nations, India and Pakistan. This division led to one of the largest mass migrations in human history as millions of people crossed borders to join their chosen nation. The partition was marked by significant violence and upheaval, with communities that had coexisted for centuries suddenly finding themselves on opposite sides of a new border. Religious differences, primarily between Hindus and Muslims, played a crucial role in this divide. Over the decades, the relationship between India and Pakistan has been fraught with tension and conflict, including several wars and ongoing disputes over territories like Kashmir. Despite these challenges, there have been moments of diplomacy and attempts at peace, showing that dialogue and cooperation are possible. Understanding this divide requires not just a look at the political and historical context, but also an appreciation of the human stories and experiences that continue to shape the relationship between these two nations. It's a story of division, yes, but also of resilience and hope for a better future. The Indus Water Treaty, signed in 1960, is often hailed as one of the most successful water-sharing agreements in the world. Despite the tensions between India and Pakistan, the treaty has survived multiple conflicts and continues to be a symbol of cooperation. However, the issue of Kashmir remains a contentious point, casting a long shadow over the treaty's effectiveness. The question remains, can shared resources pave the way for lasting peace? Public skepticism is a significant hurdle in the path to peace. Many people on both sides of the border remain doubtful about the intentions of their neighbors. This deep-rooted mistrust complicates diplomatic efforts and often leads to the derailment of peace initiatives. Overcoming this skepticism is crucial for any lasting resolution. The journey to peace is fraught with challenges. Historical grievances, political ambitions, and external influences all play a role in shaping the dynamics of Indo-Pak relations. Yet amidst these complexities there is hope. Grassroots movements, cultural exchanges and people-to-people connections offer a glimmer of optimism. The road ahead is long but not impossible. Dialogue and diplomacy are imperative for resolving conflicts and building sustainable peace. Open channels of communication can help bridge gaps and foster mutual understanding. Both nations must prioritize diplomatic efforts and engage in continuous dialogue to address their differences. In the end, the path to peace lies in the willingness to listen, understand, and compromise.